just what is a miracle? How do you define miracle? Are y'all listening? A miracle is divine interruption of a natural process for the benefit of believers. A divine interruption of a natural process for the benefit of believers. A miracle is also divine intervention into the procedure of a natural law for the advantage of saints. So you got divine interruption and divine intervention. For example, Lazarus was dead 3 days and stinking. He was in the natural process of decay. But Jesus interrupted the natural process of decay. Jesus interrupted the natural process of returning to the dust and changed the course of Lazarus. You and I have natural processes that try to dictate our lives. But God has the power to interrupt the debt. God has the power to interrupt the illness. God has the power to interrupt a relationship breakup. God has the power to interrupt the addiction and turn the course around. Too many believers have chosen to live with junk, stuff, and things. I'm just going to live with it. I'm just going to be this way all my life. I'm just going to have to always deal with this money problem. I'm just going to always have to deal. No. Jesus has the power to interrupt, and he has the power to intervene. If I take these glasses and shove them off this pulpit, we would expect them to fall due to what? The law of gravity. But the author of the law, reserves the right to suspend the law. I hope I'm helping somebody in here today. There's some things that you have done that you are still reaping the consequence. Because of God's holiness, he has to sometimes chasten us. But the author of the law always reserves the right to suspend the law. God specializes in things which seem impossible, and he can do what no other power can do. He has the key to any law that we must fight with. Some folks are fighting to get a job because of a bad court record. The court record says that you are a felon. Therefore, a felon is not entitled to be trusted with certain employment. But God has the power to interrupt the process of a bad record long enough so that an employer can see you for who you are in spite of your record and go on and hire you anyway. Don't count God out when others have disappeared.
All right.
The first point I want to show from our text today is you must extend an invitation for divine participation. You must extend an invitation, amen, for divine participation. John 2 and verse 2 says, and both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage. Amen. Somebody needs to hear that today. Amen. Among the invitations sent, among the calls given, was an invitation to Christ and his disciples. You see, whenever we enter into any venture of our living, we need to have Christ with his word, his will, and his way invited to the table. There ought not be one single thing we try to do that is without an invitation to the Lord. If you're trying to get something worked out without the Lord, you don't need to be trying to work that plan out. If you can't have that business plan with God involved, if you can't include God on that strategy, if you feel that something you're doing is an embarrassment to God, don't even start it. If you can't bring God into it from the beginning, why would you expect God to step in when the big mess blows up? When we decide to have Jesus in our decisive moments, we won't spend so much time saying, I wish I would have known then what I know now. See, people tend to compartmentalize their living. There's a God thing over here, and then there's a me thing over here. And we tend to keep God in so much of a box that they forget to invite him in. They forget to pray. They forget to seek guidance from the word. Listen to me. Absolutely no plan ought to even be a plan without God showing you the plan, guiding you through the plan, and providing for the plan. Some of us don't have provisions because God didn't send you to plan. Where God guides is where God provides. How can you ask? I hope I don't step on too many toes. It amazes me how folk are having, I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my rent. I'm having problems with my rent. And you shacking up. You can't be surprised that you're going to have issues if you're not doing God's plan. You're not going to have some rent issues along the way or mortgage payment issues along the way, but at least you can rest at night knowing I'm living under God's holiness. Amen. Amen. Don't play sports and ignore God. Don't get an education and ignore God. Don't eat food and ignore God. Don't make bills nor pay bills and ignore God. Don't choose friends without God. Nothing we do is worthy to be done without first making sure that the Lord has his rightful place in any and everything we set out to do. You say you should have all that spiritual stuff every time you get ready in the morning. Well, check your record and see how many times your stuff got jacked up because God's will was never consulted. Check your record and see how many times, if it hadn't been for the Lord on your side, your stuff would have been jacked up. The love of God is reserved for our provision of his purpose in our lives. Invite the Lord to your whole life. I'm talking about making your way to a miracle. Invite the Lord into your whole life. Christianity is not just a ticket to glory. Christianity is the way to live every day we get up. So we have to invite Christ to our situation. He doesn't operate like Superman, just sees us in distress, fly in and deal with the bad guys and then take off again. We have to invite Jesus. Let Jesus in. Make Jesus feel welcome. I'm talking about making your way to a miracle. Every promise of God for the saints is contingent on our initiation and our instigation. Ask.